Hey, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of Collector Spotlight. Tonight, we're going to have one of my good buddies. I talk to him almost every day. Tony of Tony is Online. He has a great IG page. Check it out on Instagram. He also does videos. He really specializes in doing auction videos, having to do with like Michael Jordan or the star cards or things like that. So does a great job. Check out his channel. But anyways, this whole series is about taking collectors, bringing them on here, let them show their collection. I've done different types of collections. We've done guys with autograph cards. I've done guys with pre-war, and then Jim Kramer had all the cool Cuban cards. So it's an eclectic group of people. This one is an eclectic collection. So we're going to see football, baseball, all kinds of stuff. Autograph memorabilia. It ain't just your run of the mill. We're going to hear the stories behind them. I can't wait to hear what all Tony has to say about these. I've looked over all the pictures. I've got them loaded in here. I have no idea what the stories are behind it. So I'm really looking forward to hearing it too. So you'll hear it with me at the same time. So I'm going to bring Tony up on stage right here. Hey, Tony, I'm glad you're on here, man. So,
Hey Tony, thank you for having me.
yeah, you're welcome.
It's
So,
it's a humbling pleasure. Thank you.
well, you're welcome. So, my daughter and I had the privilege of flying up to Philly. We caught the first series of the year, and you live right by the stadiums there. And you were nice enough to pick us up at the airport and took us back to the airport, took us to get Philly cheesesteaks at some famous cheesesteak place, and went by your house, got to look at your collection. So anyways, you've been very hospitable to me, and I'm glad to have you on my channel, man. You're an awesome guy.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that was Angelo's cheesesteaks, and I'm still full from that.
Yeah, my little
Was
girl
it?
still talks about that. So she wants to come back up again for a playoff game. So we'll see. We might end up coming up again. So
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So how would you kind of describe your collecting style, I guess, before we get into this?
Okay. Started as I have I had a mental list of top 50 cards I wanted as a kid in the 1980s. Then when I got out of the hobby in 1992, I remembered those cards because those are pretty much all the post-war cards everyone my age at the time wanted. Then when I got back into the hobby in 2018, I started diving into Mike Schmidt and Steve Carlton. Then I took a little break after I got my first Reggie. Then in 2022 early, I got back in, and then I started diving into that list that I had. And those were the Henry Aarons, the Roberto Clemente, pretty much Pete Rose, all the cards I wanted as a child, but we couldn't afford them. And I got them off my bucket list. And then that was pretty cool. And then I discovered pre-war and, oddball issues. So right now my focus is around, I would say pre-war and also oddball, things you don't see every day.
Yeah, you got a cool collection, man. So again, guys, you want to see everything he has, not everything, but a lot of the stuff he has, go on his Instagram page. He's got a great page. Got a Flickr page. So yeah, he's been great for me. He's introduced me to new people, got me in different groups. So I'm like I said, I'm excited to have him on here. So you ready to jump right on in?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna pull up this first item, and there it is. So normally, we're showing cards and stuff. This is a little different, and I can't wait to hear the story behind this. I obviously know, living in Philly, why you would probably have this, but go ahead and give us the story behind it.
So in growing up in Philadelphia and living so close to these stadiums, actually I grew up with no houses in between me and Veteran Stadium. There was just a little hill, parking lot entrance, and a fence. That was it. And I got a lot of chance to walk over to the Phillies games, watched a lot of games, and with my dad and then my friends. And my dad is still very good friends with the former Phillies head of security dugout, Nicky Beach. And Nicky Beach introduced me to Schmidt. And what you're seeing on the top is a 1988 game used ball that Schmidt signed. I'm actually holding it right now. That's a little hard to see with the camera, but the picture shows it. And Schmidt personalized it, and that's a Schmidt autograph. That's how he signed back in 1988. And underneath it is also something special. So Mike Schmidt used this bat sometime between 84 and 86 season. So we have an MVP season in there from 1986. And I picked it up when I was out of the hobby, 2019, when I was just about to get out. And I'm actually holding the bat here. And I think it was probably more of like a batting practice bat than more of a game use bat, even though it does have a lot of the bat. It's signed, but it has a lot of usage here.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then, but it's missing a lot of pine tar. So something's telling me that maybe Schmidt tried it maybe for one game at bat or for batting practice. And the other cool thing is it's got his number.
That's
on
awesome.
It. And that's how Schmidt wrote his number. And these bats could be traced back to the orders from the manufacturers. And so it's a genuine bat. It's specifications. Nicky Beach has a couple home run Schmidt bats, so he took a look at it too, and he said, "Yeah, this is the real deal." So it's been PSA, DNA, all that. It's got a game use grade, and that top signature there is when Schmidt signed the bat. So I would guess he signed it maybe in the early 1990s, and then at the Philly show.
Did you buy it already signed?
I bought it already signed, and then when Schmidt was at the Philly show, actually, it might have been my first Philly show that I attended since COVID. And then I saw Mike there. I took a nice picture of Mike with my son. My son's a lot taller than me now. And Schmidt saw the bat. He probably sees a lot of bats, but he recognized his signature on it. And then right where the red is, that's his little trademark tape mark, and that's where he would put the pine tar at. And even on bats that were not Schmidt's brand, like Schmidt also used Wilson bats, Louisville Slugger bats, he would put that piece of tape so he wouldn't get in trouble. But he signed it again for me, and he also thought the bat was from 1986, so he put a little note there.
Oh wow,
1986,
cool.
but he wasn't sure. Yeah, but it was still pretty cool of him. And then that's my favorite baseball player of all time. So Schmidt's my dad.
Being in Philly, I know, obviously he's an all-time great, if maybe the all-time, the best third baseman of all time. But is he like held up in like godlike status there, or I know he has to be huge, but who would be bigger than him? Anybody that's living?
In the 1980s, Philly was a baseball town. Then in the 90s, it started changing to become a football town. So when it comes to baseball, Schmidt's up there. Schmidt and Carlton, Richie Ashburn was extremely popular, and But I would say, Schmidt's loved. He had a love-hate relationship with the fan base, mainly because of the late Bill Conlon. But Schmidt's up there, and outside of Schmidt, you got Dr. J, Reggie White, Nick Foles now. Schmidt's up there because he won us a title.
Yeah. Well,
almost two.
Awesome. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on to the next one here.
Okay, so 1965, Steve Carlton. This card brings me back to the 1988 National. It was in Atlantic City. It was the first big card show that my dad took me to, and I saved up a lot of money. My grandparents gave me cash, and my dad did, and I had a choice at this one dealer. It was the Carlton rookie card that you see there, 84 Gooden Flair Update, 84 Flair Update Clemens, and a 67 Seaver rookie card, and pretty nice cards. He won $800 for those four, or for $900, I can get it, or maybe $1,000, I can get a 52 Mays tops.
Oh, wow.
And I went with the four cards because Carlton was my guy. I didn't see him pitch in his prime, but he was a Philly, even though he left in 1986. But I always wanted Carlton. He was right up there along with Schmidt. So So I took the Carlton card, bought it, and then I never regretted it since. Also, my grandmother lived in Glassboro, New Jersey, and my grandparents went to church every Saturday. And Robin Roberts attended the same church as my mom for most of the 1980s. So she would talk. She wouldn't go up to Roberts, but she knew him just by face and everything. And then I just remember that. And one time she got me an autograph ball, which is really cool, that I still have. So ever since then, I had a little thing for Robin Roberts, not as much as Carlton. So when I had a chance to get a signed Robin Roberts card, I picked the 52 tops, and then before you know it, that turned into the entire Robin Roberts run. I have pretty much almost every base Robin Roberts card except for the 52 Burke Ross. I have everything in between from start to finish.
But you got them all signed too, right?
Yeah, yep, they're all autographed.
Yeah, you left that part out of it. That makes it even more
I guess I should say that.
to be able to do that. Yeah. So, like, have you ever met him in person and got something signed before he passed?
I saw him at a show, but I didn't mention anything about my grandparents to him because I was too busy going after 87 Flair packs and 88 Flair and junk wax. So, I was 12 years old at the time, 13, so I just wanted packs of modern cards. I didn't appreciate the athletes when I got a chance to see them in person. I was just young.
Yeah, well, I understand. The Carlton, did you buy that raw?
Everything was raw. This was 1988, and unfortunately, that's not the same Carlton because I sold my Carlton card back in 1994 or 95, Prodigy Network, even before AOL. So that was my first deal, and I flipped it. Made a little bit of money on it because I was out of the hobby then. I was just I needed money for college, car, so I was into that. Then.
I was gonna say if that's the one you got and you kept it that fresh until you got it graded, that's pretty awesome. But anyway, still an awesome card.
I wish. Thank you.
So here's going to the next one. I can't wait to hear the story behind this. I remember seeing him as a kid. He did the big circuit.
The Bull Durham, yeah.
Yeah. So he came to Nashville every year, like the San Diego Chicken would, and would perform. And I remember watching him, and everybody loved him. And but I can't wait to hear your story about this.
So my pop died in 1989, but he was a car guy. He loved cars. In fact, he would try to get a new car every 3 years. That was his whole thing. And he used to also like to go to car dealers to look at cars, even though he wasn't in the market. So he was reading the Glassboro newspaper, and he found out that Max Patkin's going to be at a dealership. So my grandfather thought, it's during the week. I got nothing to do because he was retired at the time. This was maybe 84, 85. And he went to the car dealership. I think it was a Pontiac dealership, and he got free hot dogs, a soda, and the signed Patkin card that you see there.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it's not worth much value-wise, but it's one of the most treasured items I have in my collection because my grandfather used to always take me to the Berlin Farmers Market, and that's in Jersey, and he used to take me and buy baseball cards.
That's awesome, man.
He told me about cars.
Oh yeah, so he didn't really talk about cards that much. He was more about
cars, but he would buy me cards, but he was more about the cars.
Well, it sounds like you had a good pop, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, my grandfather loved baseball, but as far as I know, he never had baseball cards. I wish I'd have asked him that before he passed away. But he was a huge baseball fan. But I'd love to know, like, did he open up some Gowdy cards back in the 30s or something like that? I have no idea. No idea. So
yeah, my grandfather, he did none of that. He was just working at that age. He drove an oil truck. So
okay. Well, you ready to go to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. So I know a little bit about the basketball, not as much as the baseball, obviously, but I definitely know about these two cards. So jump right in there.
So I had two childhood 87 Flair MJs. One I bought in 7th or 8th grade, and that's the one you see that starts with the 3-0 cert. I also had a second one that I bought in a set, or I was gifted a set from my dad in 1989. It was a birthday present, and unfortunately, I sold one of the Jordans to Mr. Mint. My only experience with Al Rosen,
Wow.
and I got fleeced, but that's my fault. I wasn't in the hobby, and I didn't do the due diligence. But I got rid of the one MJ, but this is the one I kept, and it means a lot to me, not just because it's one of the first 10 cards I ever got graded. It's more about it's from my childhood, and it's been with me since I was 12 years old, 12 and a half. Yeah.
Wow.
And then on the other card, that's a card I knew existed in the mid 1980s. I wasn't a Jordan fan though, but this card was a unicorn. The whole star, all 3 star issues. I never saw them at a show, never saw them at a local card shop, but I wanted it. So in April 2024, a chance came up for me to buy this collection and include the 69-70 Topps 12 boy set and the 84-85 star set. And some of the cards were actually already graded. That's why you see the BGS label there. And I bought the collection, and I finally got my star MJ rookie card after 35 years, maybe 36 years.
Wow.
So it means a lot to me, even when it appreciated up in value last year. And my wife said, sell it, sell it, sell it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Nah, so I kept it.
Yeah. So tell me about your experience with Mr. Mint. Like, what that guy is like a legend in the hobby. I never met him, but like, was he at the Philly Card Show? How in the heck did you meet him?
He was at the convention center in downtown Philadelphia. And as soon as you walked in, I don't know if it was a Wizard World or if it was a baseball card show. This was like in 2003 or 2004. So again, I wasn't into the hobby. I just might have been 2002 because that MJ was created 2003. So I walk in with my brother, and I have the Seaver rookie. I got the Clemens rookie that from my childhood. I got a Ricky Henderson rookie card, and I have the Jordan, and I have that card. And I went up to him and I said, "Hey, I just went to PSA. They want to take my cards. I don't trust anyone, sending it out to get graded because I didn't know what grading was then." And then he bought the cards from me. He had the money in his hands, tempting me with the money, basically pulling it under my, putting the money under my nose. And he was a showman. That's how I could say it. And I'm sure he flipped the cards, not even, half an hour after he got them from me. But he
Wow.
was rude, obnoxious. He knew that he had me showing the $100 bills, but but he also did a lot for the hobby too. So
Do
I
you
have
know
to,
what you sold him for? Like how much? Like
yeah, and I don't want to talk about it.
that?
It's
You
just,
tried to wipe that out of your memory.
yeah, I would tell you if I used that $1,000 and I would have bought Amazon or Apple stock, then I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Man
yeah,
alive. That's crazy though. Yeah,
uh,
I've heard different stories about people meeting him, and guys on YouTube, like their dad sold stuff to him, and like Greg Miller's dad, and then
mhm,
Dave Berg's dad. And so that dude, he made his way around, man. He got around. That he hustled. So
yeah,
yeah, he got a name deservedly, I guess. So
yeah.
anyways, help pump up those 52 mantles for sure. All right, let's jump to the next one then. Now you're getting into my stuff right here.
Yeah, so when I got back into the hobby for the third time, I picked up a 52 maze. That was off of eBay, and saw it, liked it. It was at a pretty reasonable price, and that made up for passing up on the maze at the 88 National. Then the 69 Topps mantle, that just happened to fall into my lap at the first East Coast National, and I got the poster here. Uh, Mantle was signing along with Tom Seaver and DiMaggio, and this card was raw on eBay. And I started talking to the owner, and he said, "Yeah, I got the card signed at the East Coast National. I have some pictures. DiMaggio signing here. And then you got the two Mantle pictures here. This is an old picture of my son. And that's a picture of Mantle signing the card. And on this one, it's a picture of the fellow holding the card that got signed. So he just never wanted to get it graded. So he put it roll on eBay, and he had the provenance. And I bought the card. I had a couple people look at it, and thanks to John Keating, who helped me. And PSA slabbed it, and I got a 3.5. And I'm the second owner of the card signed, and it's one of the most treasured cards in my collection. I really love it a lot.
How long ago was that?
2003.
Oh, dang, man. So you bought that on eBay in 2003?
Yeah, it might have been like 1,300 maybe.
Wow.
And then I sent the PSA, got it signed. It got graded in April 2024.
Wow. That's incredible, man. I didn't even know eBay existed back then for baseball cards until I got back in about 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't know you could get baseball cards on eBay. And man alive, when I saw that, I felt like a kid in a candy shop because growing up, we didn't have the ability. You could go on like Sports Card Digest or something, and you could go on the back to the classifieds and try to buy stuff. But that always seemed, well, I didn't have no money, but it
Same
seemed like
here.
a pipe dream to me, that they'd even send you something. So, man, that's awesome, dude. I had a very
Yeah.
similar experience buying a 1960 raw signed Mantle on Facebook from a guy, and then got it graded, and it got a 10 on the signature too. So, yeah, you can hit it, but you're taking a risk. I mean, that's for sure. You're trusting
And
people.
and when we were growing up, I mean, I know you got your 1959 Mantle signed in person, but whenever I went to shows, and I'm talking about the national, the regional shows, and the January 1989 home run show, nobody got cards signed. Nobody. You got ball signed, posters, 8x10s. So very few people ever got cards signed. So with your story about getting it signed, it's really interesting because nobody did it back then. So,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know
so
any
kudos.
different. My brother got one signed too the same
Yeah,
time I did.
and
So
that's
he
really
had the
cool.
64 Tops Giant, got it signed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Mantle was nice, man. He was a really nice man when you got up to him and met him.
Yep.
Which, ain't always the case. The guy standing next to him right here in this picture. When I met him, he wasn't as nice. He was a little rude.
Yeah.
But he's Willie Mays. He can do whatever he wants, I guess. So this on that Mays, how long have you had that one?
2023.
Wow. That's one I haven't gotten yet. It's kind of one of those you kind of feel like you need in your collection. That's a beautiful copy.
Yeah, I picked up the 52 Bowman, which was actually the first vintage card when I got back in 2022. And that's when I knew stuff was getting real. Once I saw that 52 Bowman maze in my hands, and then I got the 52 Bowman Mantle also, then I'm like, crap's getting real. Now I'm fully into it. So
yeah.
those are
Yeah.
the two cards.
Yeah. I remember when I first got back into it, I got a 52 Mantle Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the coolest thing because I didn't think I'd ever have a 52 Tops Mantle. But at least I could say I had a 52 Mantle. And, you can get those for a song, man. I mean, they're not $5, but they ain't what a 52 Tops in comparison. I mean, it's pennies. So, yeah, you can get those Bowmans. They're beautiful cards, but these
I love
52
them.
Tops really carry that 52 Tops tax. So, anyways, it's a beautiful copy.
When I sold a lot of my mantles, 90% of them, I would say, to fund another card, which we'll talk about later, actually two cards. I kept the 69, as you can see, and I kept all my Bowmans. I couldn't get rid of the Bowmans. I got rid of the 52 Tops, and I sold the 56 Tops, but I kept my Bowmans. So that's how much I love the Bowman cards.
Yeah, they're beautiful. All right, you ready to move to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it.
So growing up in Philadelphia, I was a Carlton fan, but Tom Seaver, something about him. He was a professional. He was a gentleman. One hell of a pitcher. So when I had a chance to, pick up his rookie card in 1988. I got it, and this is not that exact one because Mr. Mint bought mine, but I made sure I picked one up. So I picked up the PSA 8 copy, and then I'm like, I want to get an autograph copy. And Seaver autographs are kind of tough to come by. But I was able to get one signed by Bill Dennehy, who's really helped the Mets win the 1969 World Series by not being part of the team. Because in 1967, he got traded to the Senators, I believe, and that allowed Hodges to become the Mets manager.
Oh, wow.
And so Dennehy's still alive. I hear he's not doing well visually, but he signed that card, and it's a pretty cool card, and I like the centering of it still.
Yeah, it's a beautiful card. Mookie Chilson tells that story really well too. He, of course, he's loves those Mets. And so yeah, that is a cool card. And the one on the left, that 8, I didn't realize growing up. I mean, I had seen that card a little bit, but being a high number and finding one centered is unbelievably hard. So that is an absolute gem right there. I don't know why it's an 8. So
after 1952, so starting with 1953, that's the hardest rookie card to find out of Bowman and Topps. So every card after that, that's the rarest after you get through the 52 Topps. So the Matthews and the other cards from that 52 top set, but from 53 on, that's the hardest one to get.
no kidding.
Pop report wise, everything. Yeah,
I would have never thought that. So yeah, that's crazy. So those are 2 beautiful ones. I've been looking at some of those. I feel like I need that one. I need the Carew.
Yeah.
So
nice.
There's a couple of cards like that I still need to add. So let's jump over here to this next
Yep.
one. I can't wait for this.
This is one of my favorite Clemente cards, and here I have the artwork done by SKW. He's on Instagram, and he's also a collector, and he does artwork. And that's his artwork on the card. So once I got this at this past national, I'm like, well, this would go good. So I picked up a 67 Topps Clemente for Mayor. And what I like about Stacy's art is it's Roberto and not Bob. And,
I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
So that means a lot to me. I had the Yaz, but I wanted the Clemente for a while, so I felt like, let's just get it. So yeah, I got it. So now I got the art and I got the card.
Yeah. So I'm sure most people watching this would know, but if you don't, Roberto was very proud of his heritage, and Topps tried to just shorten his name to Bob and try to Americanize him or something. But the story behind his number, is not war number 21, and Roberto Clemente Walker was his full name, and there was 21 letters. And I don't know if anybody have you ever seen like a quote where he said that, or is that just something that people have said for the longest time? Do you have any idea?
I remember a quote. I have his biography over there. So I do remember a quote about it.
That was a hot card at the National. I think you're the 3rd person I know that picked one of those up. I think Theo grabbed one, Mike Petty grabbed one, and you grabbed one. So,
I grabbed this actually right before the National. I grabbed the artwork at the
I got you. Yeah, because he was
National, but they were close though.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So the next one is epic. So before we bring it up on stage, I'm going to go ahead and set this up. When I was at your house, and you were showing me all your really amazing cards, the one I remember the most holding is this one. So I'm gonna bring it up on the stage right here. It's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, it's probably the favorite card I own. And I own probably isn't the right word. I would say I'm the current guardian of this card, custodian. So in 2023, I remembered the set because I had a baseball cards magazine from the 1980s, and they touched upon this topic about the set. And I'm like, I never seen them though, but my son is buying all these refractors, Allen and Ginter ones and Pops Chrome. And I'm like, well, these kind of remind me of a refractor from a different era. So after 6 months, I was finally able to pick up the card at auction, and I went for this copy. It's a blank back, and then I'm like, this card is so cool. So and I have a Clemente run. At that time, I had all his cards except for this one, and then it got me into the rabbit hole for the whole set, and I just recently finished the entire 1968 Topps 3D base set. So I have all the cards, including some of the variations, and one of my cards actually have the stamp back.
How many cards are in that set again?
12.
Wow, that's incredible.
Base set. Mm-hmm.
So I remember asking you at one point, I might have been when I was sitting in your house, that those reminded me of the Kellogg's cards I had as a kid. And you said that was basically, tell the story behind that. You'll tell it better than I did.
Yeah, so Panagraphics, I believe, is the Texas company's name. They went into partnership with Topps, and Topps decided to call the technology exograft of the lenticular, which is just a plastic front of the cards, and that causes the motion. And it was too expensive of a process. It was too it wasn't consistent because a lot of these cards have cracks. They got rips, because when the cards were cut, and then the sheets would just move them down the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
They would get ripped, and they would get tears, but they call them rips. And then Topps just abandoned it. So they had prototypes, proofs, like they have a Bart Starr, they have a Brooks Robinson, they have a soccer player who we don't know who the soccer player is, and they decided not to go along with it. So they issued a couple packs, 2 cards to a pack, came with an easel that I have, and it came wrapped up in a wax pack, and it was such a limited distribution that the wax packs actually had the 3D Topps logo pasted on each wax pack.
Oh, wow.
And the wax pack was just like, typical wax paper you would use for cooking. And so they bailed, and then Kellogg picked them up, and the technology, even less than 2 years later, got much better, and they also smaller. And then Kellogg's put them in their in the cereal boxes.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, I've got the whole 1981 Kellogg set from being a kid. My mom let me cut the little coupon off the box, and we sent in $5 or whatever. And I couldn't wait for that set to get here. I still have the whole set, man. Those were the only year of the Kellogg's that they're a little wider. They're like the regular card size.
Mm-hmm.
So you ain't got that card sitting next to you, do you? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna pull you up.
Yeah.
So can you show the camera how the 3D works? Just for people who've never seen one in person. You don't see those, man. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So how these work, I'm gonna use this here to see. The front stays still, but the background moves.
Right.
And on some of the cards, you don't get a full effect because Topps tried to make everything move. But on the cards like this, the Bill Stoudemire, the Tony Perez, and the Boog Pal, you could really see that 3D motion.
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
I should have sent you a video of it.
That's okay. Show me the back. It's just blank.
Yeah, the back is blank.
Okay. Yeah, and there's also the stamp backs. Why were they stamped?
Those were the earliest ones that the Topps and Exograph folks would use to show off. They would show it to MLB. They would show it to MLB. They would show it to wholesalers, hoping that they would buy them. So they were just used as like samples, much like the 1939 play ball cards, how they had stamped back samples, much like that. And you weren't supposed. And they also indicated not to remove them from the premises, which obviously we found out after a big 100-card find in 1999. They went out the back door.
Yeah, and these were regionally they weren't distributed all over the country, right?
Only in Brooklyn.
Okay, that's what I knew.
Yep.
It was. I didn't know it was just
That's
Brooklyn.
it. Brooklyn only. Yeah.
Wow. All right, man. That's the story I couldn't wait to hear. I kind of knew a little bit of the highlights, but I wanted to hear you tell it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna jump to the next one. Totally different genre. So here we go.
Broadway Joe. Growing up, watching football in the 1980s, I was a big football fan. As you can tell, I'm wearing my Eagles polo shirt. Joe Namath. He didn't have the stats, but he was famous. I mean, everybody knew Broadway Joe. And they knew about Super Bowl III, which at that time wasn't called the Super Bowl, but that was the card to own. If you wanted vintage football, yeah, you had the Jim Brown, you had the Unitas card, you had a few others, but this was the card to own. People used to say, if you get a 65 Joe Namath card, that's like the 52 Mantle. And the Joe Namath cards, it's a short print. It's a AFL only set because Topps could only make AFL players at that time. But card just holds a special place in my heart. And then the ticket, I had to get the ticket. So when the ticket showed up online at auction, I jumped on it and I was able to get the ticket for a pretty decent price. So I think it's just a perfect pairing between the ticket and also the
ticket
card.
Signed. I mean,
and the ticket signed.
Yeah.
Graded, signed, everything.
I have one good vintage football card in my collection. It's that one. It's signed.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So, and the reason I got one is because what you just said. I was watching John 3D 80s Kid, and he was doing a vintage football episode. And I've seen this card my entire life, right? And I always, Joe Namath was huge in the South because he played at Alabama for Bear Bryant. And they were basically saying this was the 52 Mantle of vintage football right now. Yeah. And I was perusing eBay and I see one for sale that's autographed. And so I pounced on it. And so I thought I got a really good price for it, honestly. I mean, compared to what a 52 Mantle signed card would go to for, it was pennies. So anyways, I'm fired up to own that one too. So how rare is that ticket signed? Is there pop counts on that?
If there is a pop count, I know a good friend, Tom, who would know the pop count, but I don't know the pop count off the top of my head. I would guess it's maybe 10, 20, somewhere around there.
That's what I was going to say. There can't be many of those, man. That's really cool. Well, I'm sure you grew up hating the Jets, right?
No, I grew up hating the 49ers because every time they came to Philly, they would beat my Eagles. I still remember I was at a game where Joe Montana threw a bomb to Jerry Rice, and we had Izell Jenkins, who we called Toast, playing cornerback, and Rice he got toast, caught a 50-yard bomb. Yeah, it was brutal. So, but the Jets, they were cool. I didn't mind the Jets. As long as you beat the 49ers, you were okay in my book. But now I'm to the point where, I like football. I like all the teams. Just the Eagles are my number one.
Yeah,
and it's
of course.
Close. Yeah.
All right, man. Let's go to the next one. We're going to jump back into baseball. So here it comes.
Reggie Jackson. I met Reggie Jackson at the 1989 500 home run show, January. It was at Trop World. My dad, he was a player at that casino, and he got us backstage. So Patty DiPietro, who was his host, sat us down next to Martinez Jackson, and she introduced us. Now, my father knew who he was. I didn't really know. So he starts talking about his son, Reggie Jackson. Now, I'm almost 13 years old. I'm giddy. I'm like, I'm sitting next to Reggie Jackson's dad.
Yeah.
And he starts telling me stories, and my father, he's really talking to my father. I was a fly on the wall, so to speak, and just listening to stories. And then Reggie Jackson's not too far away. So he says, Tony, why don't you tell your son to walk up to Reggie and maybe, he'll take a picture or he'll give you an autograph. So I was an ignorant 12-year-old, almost 13, talking too much, and I went up to Reggie Jackson, but he was already talking to a blonde. And I said, Mr. Jackson. And before I can mention his dad, he said, sorry, kid, I'm too busy. And that's the first time I met Reggie. But, you know, that's on me. But then when I met him again at the 2024 National, took my son, and he took a picture with holding up the Reggie Jackson 1977 proof. And that card means a lot to us because Reggie Jackson doesn't have any Baltimore cards from his 76 season. So here we have a 3-color proof.
Yeah.
It's just missing the color black, blank back.
Yeah.
And there's currently, of the 3-color proof, I would say there's only one in the world right now, and you're looking at it here. And Keith Oberman owns about 5 of the 4-color proofs. So you got the magenta, you got the yellow, you got the blue, and you got the black. So he owns, I think, 2 are cut down just like mine. They're in the slab, and then he has the rest are uncut sheets. And for whatever reason, Nat Turner, can you please get PSA to grade this card? I would really, I mean, I'm not PSA or SGC. I don't have a favorite, but I just already have a problem with the slab. You know, it's kind of cracking a little bit, and I would just like to get it in a nice, sturdy holder. And for whatever reason, they refuse to do the research on this card, and they refuse to grade it, even though it's in the standard baseball card catalog that Bob Lemke wrote for decades.
Wow.
And just real quick, I found out about this card in that issue of Baseball Cards. That's a 1984 issue, and it talks about Reggie Jackson. And at that time, the card was only seen once, and that was at the 1983 National. And the person was able to get the card out of the Topps files. And then Mr. Mint got his hands on it. He sold a copy. He sold that exact copy in 1986. And then Topps Guernsey's auction, which was a famous auction in 1989, they sold uncut sheets, which is where my card came from. And also the 8 or 9 other cards of that progressive proof. And my card was on sheet. It got cut up. And in 2019 spring, REA had an auction where they had the entire Reggie Jackson run. And I believe that the 4-color Jackson sold for $56,000 or $60,000, and all the other ones didn't sell.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I was able to get my hands on this one. And when Reggie saw it at the Cleveland National, he kind of looked at it because Reggie, he's been in the hobby since
he's a collector
since 1988, 89, and he kind of like smirked. You know, he didn't say anything about it. But then I'm holding the all blue one, and then Reggie's holding the 3-color one, and then out of nowhere, Reggie's like, "Cool," and he put his arms around my son. Asked him, "Do you mind if I put my arm around you?" And my son said, "Sure." And then he snapped. Picture was taken.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, he's like, from my childhood, he was the biggest dude in the game in 1978, 79, and 80 when I started opening packs. And so that was the guy. I wouldn't call it a chase card, but when you saw one of him or Nolan Ryan, that was the 2 big ones that me and my brother wanted more than that. And Pete Rose was one of them. So, so yeah, really cool, man.
And he's great in the Naked Gun.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, when he's doing the robot, I must kill the queen.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here's the next one. This is something I've never gotten into with anybody so far. So you're going to be the first on this one too. So here we go.
Where do I begin? So Craig Kreinler is the premier artist, and I always wanted one of his paintings. 11-year wait list, might be 12 years now. Been following his On the Easel thread on Net 54, and always wanted a painting. So on the image where you see Hans, that's the 16 by 10 painting that he made, and somebody owns. I don't know who, but at that time, so this is from 2014. He used to do color studies, so he would have the vision of the player or the picture he would want to paint, and he found a famous photograph, which we know this is the Conlon photograph, and
Or the Horner photograph.
I'm the Horner, excuse me.
Yeah.
And he was wondering why he waited so long to paint it, and he finally got a chance to, and he made a 5x7 color studies of it, where it's not as detailed as the 16x20, but for this particular one, Greg just did a fabulous job, and
It looks
he
awesome.
did a lot more detail. Yeah, so you can see the difference between the bigger one and the color study. So yeah, this was just before the national pickup. This is probably why my son spent more than me for the second consecutive national, because I like to pick up things before the national. Seems to always be the case, and you can see that Greg signed it on the back, and I actually got a chance to meet him at the national, and really great guy, down to earth, extremely friendly, loves to joke. He's one of us. He's just a fabulous guy. I can't say enough great things about him, and his art speaks for himself, but he's even a better person.
Yeah, check out his Instagram page. He's got some killer stuff, and yeah, he and I have conversed on DMs. Just a great guy to talk. He's just a regular dude, man.
Yeah,
so
he's awesome.
Also, Dan, Vintage Baseball PC, he had him on. So if you want to check out that episode on Dan's YouTube channel, it was a great episode with Greg. So check that out too. All right, let's go to the next one. We're jumping into another sport again. Here we go.
Wilt Chamberlain, my dad's favorite basketball player growing up. My dad remembers watching him in high school once. And then my dad went to the 60 or 61 All-Star game. My grandmother at the time, she got surprise tickets. It was at the Philadelphia Convention Center, at the same center where Mr. Mint fleeced me decades later. But my dad remembers that, and for the 100-point game, my dad remembers listening to it. It was in Hershey, PA, instead of being in Philadelphia, but he remembers listening to it. So always had a fascination with Wilt. Wish I would have got more things autographed. I wish I would have got into him earlier. I did read his book in 91 or 92. I bought it as soon as it came out. I have an autographed copy of it from that time. And Wilt was just an amazing athlete. He was the GOAT then. Now he's a little bit underrated, in my opinion. Yeah. But when you talk about basketball, and especially Philadelphia basketball, you can't help but mention Wilt.
Yeah, I mean, he revolutionized the game, man.
Yeah, they changed the rules to make it harder for him to score. Unlike one of my other favorite players, Jordan, where they changed the rules to make it a little bit easier for him to score.
Yeah,
with the 90 or 91 NBA changes. But the Topps poster there is autographed, and that's the only one that I'm aware of throughout all the grading companies where it's signed.
Wow, that is so cool. And then you got the tall boy ruler card over there, and of course his rookie card right there. So very cool. So again, I love the stories when there's a family connection, and that's awesome to hear. Your why on that. That's what I like to hear, is the why.
And real fast, Tony, I didn't tell you this, but my dad's still a Sixers season ticket holder, and I used to be, but this is the actual piece of the court from Hershey when they cut it up. So all full season ticket holders got these in
that's crazy.
In 2012.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let me pull up the next one here. Let me dig into my bag of tricks, and I love these too, and you know why. But amazing cards. Go ahead and just tell the story about this. I can't wait.
So, growing up, my father used to talk about Koufax. As great as Carlton was, and some of the other greats, he said Seaver, Koufax, and Gibson, 1-2. He would probably pick Koufax first, but Gibson's right up there too. So I used to hear stories about my dad used to go to Shibe Park, Connie Mack Stadium, to watch Koufax pitch when he was with the Dodgers, because he didn't become Koufax until 1960, 61.
Yeah.
And so by that time they were in LA. He started becoming a better pitcher. He was a bonus baby, and my dad just every time he came to Philadelphia beat the Phillies, nearly every single time. So Koufax was one of the maybe the third or fourth player run that I finished, and I was on a show, and I might have been Jeremy Lee, and I won an auction on a PWCC, and I was just commenting. I wasn't on the show. I was just a commenter. And I stated, yeah, I just bought this card. I might have been the 66 one. I said, but I finished the Koufax run. And then somebody said, did you get the 67? And I said, I know what he's talking about. No, I didn't get it. So on my birthday in 2024, this popped up on eBay. A good friend of mine, Brian, on Instagram, gave me a little nudge, say, hey, this is on Facebook. Excuse me. It wasn't eBay. This is on Facebook. Why don't you go for it? It looks like a good copy. So I bought it on the morning of my birthday. I had that card paid for 8:30 a.m. on my birthday.
Awesome.
And then admiring the card, it has a great looking back. There's no real paper loss or anything to it. Then I think, I got this 1957 card signed, mailed it out to California, outside of LA, got it signed. Why don't I send this one out? This was probably the single one time I ever cracked out a card where I was actually shaking. So I had to make sure that I did it carefully and mailed it. And then I got it back. It was signed in August 2024, right after the National, and it came out great. Sandy did a wonderful job signing it, and one of my favorite cards, I would say top 5 in my collection, and I don't anticipate me ever selling it.
Yeah, I mean, the image on that is epic. That was the year after he had retired, so he was an early retirado.
Yep.
And but the card on the right is the same card it's signed. You're showing a picture before you cracked it out.
Yeah.
I was
same as
on a
that card.
group. Yeah, I was on a group with you, and that's when we had gotten to know each other a little bit. And I come in midway through a conversation, and the conversation was, which Koufax should you get signed?
Yeah.
And I sent you a private message and said, if that guy doesn't get the Retirado signed, he's crazy. And you go, that guy's me. And I said, oh man. I didn't realize that was you. I thought they were talking about somebody else. I said, that pop count on that signed card is so low, man. You got to get that one signed. It would look awesome with a signature. And you were going to do it anyways. It ain't like you did it because I told you to, but
I was just nervous. It's like getting any other rare card signed. There's 5. The last time I checked 2 months ago, there was 5 of them, and this is the highest graded one. And some of the other ones are nice.
Yeah.
But the photo is from 62 or 63, California. They're at San Francisco there. That's where the photo was taken.
That's beautiful. We got time for one more, and I can't wait for this one. So this is Mookie Chilson. He's going to just wet his pants because he loves the Jerry Koosman rookie. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Jerry Koosman, 200 wins, I think he had, 204.
He was a good player, yeah.
And the Mets don't win the World Series at 69 without him. So I didn't have any. I mean, I knew who Nolan Ryan was in the 1980s. I know the Phillies beat him barely in the NL 1980 NLCS, but I didn't care about Nolan Ryan. I didn't appreciate him. I was a Clemens guy. If I was going to go for any hard thrower, I was Clemens. And I remember when these Nolan Ryan cards, you couldn't give them away. And then he signed with the Rangers. Then he got 4,000 Ks. Then it became 5,000 Ks. Got 300 wins.
It was all the no-nos too.
2 more no-nos with the Rangers. And the card just shot up. It was like one of those stocks you buy at $5 a share, or in this case, it might have been $50 a share. And it 10x's. in like a matter of months. And so when I had a chance to pick up the Topps one, got it off of Matty C with his excellent eye appeal. And I'm like, well, the Topps one's pretty cool. Let me see the other three. So I got the OPG because OPG are my favorite cards. I wasn't really much of a hockey collector growing up, but I like the card stock. So I picked up the OPG one signed. So now I got two of them signed. And OPG was also signed by Koosman. Then I'm like, well, let me go for the Milton Bradley. Then I got that one, and that was already signed.
Man.
Nice card. Then I'm like, well, I'm 3/4 there. Why don't I just go for the Venezuelan? And so the Koufax was on my birthday, 2024. The Ryan I picked up the week before. So it was an expensive 2 weeks, but I was able to work out, another Facebook buy where someone gave me the nudge, and I went for it. It was an easy deal. The hardest part was when the seller wanted to use USPS registered mail, which in this case I was okay with, and it took like a week to get to me, and it was only like it was like 150-mile distance.
Oh my God!
But it arrived no issues, and I'm happy I have it.
That is a beautiful Venezuelan too, man. How's the back? Was it glued in a scrapbook?
Yeah, it was glued. It looks like it could have been out of the Shining movie, a little bit of horror movie there.
But it just tells the story, man.
Yeah, you can see the back, a little bit of glue stains, a little bit of a scrapbook, paper loss, but you can make it out. But what's nice is I have the other three. If I want to read the back. So.
Okay, I thought you were going to show me the back, so I put you on. So.
Nah, I don't have any stickers on it. I don't like to show the shirt.
It's an absolutely beautiful rainbow right there, and you know how much I like the signed cards. So, Tony, I appreciate you coming on, man. I hope people hung out through this whole thing. You have some epic cards. I kept joking around with you because you would show stuff on your Instagram or whatever. It's like, where'd that come from? I had no idea the Roberto Clemente collection you had. So to see all these in one sitting and hear the stories behind them was pretty special. And yeah, there you go. He's the Jets guy.
I can't do the show without showing the jersey. So sorry.
Yeah, tell them real quick about the Jelts. We got a minute.
This is the 1989 Steve Jelts jersey. He only had 2 issued. If you watch the YouTube video I did on Jelts, this is set 1, and this actual jersey did my unofficial photo matching, and it's from the 1990 Topps card. So that is a Pop 1 PSA 10 Steve Jelts 1990 Topps Tiffany card. Only one in the world currently, and it's mine. And this is the jersey. And if I wasn't nutty enough, I have the pants.
That's the jersey he has on.
And I have the pants.
That is incredible.
Yeah, I just
let me see the patch on that jersey.
The patch?
The sleeve patch. I can see it. Yeah. See what it really looks like up close. Wow. That's really cool.
And it's got all the tags. See the tag here?
Yeah.
And it even has the tag on the bottom or on the inside. So yeah. And it's if I'm going to spend $250 on a jersey, I'm going to get a game used one. So
no doubt.
That's a game used one.
That is incredible.
Sorry, man. How to show it.
I don't blame you. I'm glad we got to fit it in. So
that's my flex. Of all the things I showed, that's the flex.
That's not the Roberto Clemente 3D.
No,
it's the gem.
No, that's the flex. Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I can't wait for people to see your collection, man. It's pretty epic.
Thank you for having me, Tony. You're one of my great friends, so it means a lot.
I feel the same way. All right, man. Y'all check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think.